Hello friends and my dear students, welcome back to my channel Phoenix Physics. I wish you a happy and prosperous new year. Today we are going to learn kinematics, or we can pronounce as kinematics. In the first lesson we discussed about branches of physics. This kinematics comes under the branch mechanics. You know that the mechanics is divided into statics and dynamics. The name itself, you can say what is static and what is dynamics. Again, this dynamics divided into kinematics and kinetics. What is kinematics or what is kinematics? The study of motion of an object without considering, this word is important, without considering the force that caused motion. Same way here kinetics means here also we are going to study about the motion of the object with the force. For example, suppose consider this is a wooden box. Okay, if you push the wooden box, it will move to certain distance. So if you want to move the position of the object, we need force. Here we are studying the motion of the object but not considering the force. Why? Because the term force was introduced by Newton. You know that Newton proposed three laws, Newton first law, second law and third law. Newton's second law tells about force. You know that force is nothing but m into a, mass into acceleration. Before Newton's era, kinetics was developed and it was mostly explained by the scientist called Galileo. That is why in kinematics they didn't include the force, because after some era Newton explained the term force. Kinematics basically means studying how things are moving but not why they are moving, which means we study about the moving object but not considering the force. Up to this clear? This kinematics includes distance or displacement, speed or velocity, acceleration, and how those values vary over time. You know, motion is found in all the levels, that is microscopic level to macroscopic level. Microscopic means within the atom. You know that the size of the atom is very small, that is 10 to the power of minus 10 meter. So it is so small, that is why we call it as microscopic level. Okay, here you know that electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Here macroscopic level means planetary motion. You know very well, all the planets are revolving around the sun and the distance are large. That is why we are calling this as a macroscopic level. There are various type of motion, that is rotational motion, circular motion, oscillatory motion, vibratory motion, linear motion, and these type of motion is expressed in the language of mathematics. You know that physics is an experimental science. In all the science subject we do experiment, but especially in physics we do experiment. Without the help of mathematics we can't get the result. So experiment and mathematics are the two pillars of physics. So far we discussed about what is kinematics and what is microscopic and macroscopic level. Up to this clear? Our next topic is concept of rest and motion. In your lower classes you might have learned the definition of rest and motion. That is, the body is said to be at rest if it does not change the position with respect to the time. Now you are in 11th standard. Instead of with respect to time, they introduce the term surroundings, which means the body does not change its position with respect to the surroundings. This is the definition for rest. For example, I kept a book on the table. After some time, the position of the book did not change. Obviously, we can say the book was at rest. But you know that our earth is revolving around the sun. Anything lying on the surface of earth is also in motion. So, the book is at rest with respect to wall or floor. The book is in motion with respect to sun. That is why they introduce the term surrounding instead of time. So how do you define the term rest? The body is said to be at rest if it does not change its position with respect to the surroundings. Based on the surroundings, we can say whether it is rest or in motion. Look at this example. Here the car is moving at a constant speed. Here, when we are sitting inside the car, we are at rest for those people who also traveling inside the car, which means we are at rest with respect to the co-passenger. But we are in motion for an outsider, which means we are at motion with respect to the outsider. So, surroundings only determine whether the object is at rest or object is at motion. Up to this clear? Instead of surroundings, they introduced one new term called frame of reference. What is this frame of reference? Just now I said surrounding is denoted by frame of reference. So here the state of motion or rest is defined relative to the observer or frame of reference. There is no absolute rest or motion. Based on the reference frame, we can say whether the object is at rest or in motion. So, what is this frame of reference? This frame of reference is explained by coordinate system. Why do we need coordinate system? If you want to find the position of the object, we need coordinate system. So coordinate system plus time gives frame of reference. Now, we will discuss what is coordinate system. This coordinate system is nothing but three mutually perpendicular axes like this. This is our x-axis, this is y-axis and z-axis. This z is perpendicular to the board like this. I can't draw this line, that is why z is in the direction. So, coordinate system consists of three mutually perpendicular axes. There are three types of coordinate system. One is Cartesian coordinate system. Another one is spherical coordinate system. Another one is cylindrical coordinate system. This Cartesian coordinate system is used to find the position of the object or the distance of the object. So, here we are using only Cartesian coordinate system. The position of a particle at a particular instant of time can be described by this Cartesian coordinate system. Okay. So, using this coordinate system, we can find out the position of the object. For example, I want to find out the position of the object. Say the object is P and the coordinates are say 2, 4, 3. 2, 4, 3 means this is x value, y value and z value. Just now I said coordinates consist of 3 mutually perpendicular axes, right? So this is my x, y and z axis. Actually my x axis is like this. I want to find out the position of the object P and the value is 2, 4, 3. Okay. So this is my x axis. In this x axis the value is 2. Okay. This is my origin O. So 1, 2. This is the position. In the y axis the value is 4. So origin 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is my y axis position. In z axis the value is 3. So 1, 2 and 3. This is my z axis position. Okay. Then you draw one parallel line from this 2. That is, you draw one parallel line from x axis to y axis like this. Okay. Then you draw one parallel line from y axis to x axis like this. Okay. This line is parallel to x axis and this line is parallel to y axis. These two lines meet at this point. Okay. From this point, draw one parallel line to z axis like this. So this will be our position of the object. Okay. Say the position will be P and mark this as 2, 4, 3. Okay. So 2, 4, 3 means this is 4 and this is 2 and this will be 3. Okay. Up to this clear? Okay. So in your book this diagram is given. How do you get this diagram? If you want to find the x coordinate means you draw one parallel line from y to x. Okay. This is my x line. You draw one parallel line from y axis to x axis. Okay. If you want to find y coordinate means you draw one parallel line from x axis to y axis. This is my y axis. You draw one parallel line from x axis to y axis. And these two parallel lines meet at this point. From this point, you draw one parallel line to z axis. So this is our position of the object and this position is denoted by P. The point is x, y, z. Up to this clear? Next one is right-handed coordinate system. Here, if you mark the x, y, z axis in the anti-clockwise direction. What is clockwise and anti-clockwise direction? This is our clock, right? So clockwise direction means in this direction. Anti-clockwise direction means in this direction. This is anti-clockwise direction. This is clockwise direction. So if x, y, z axis are drawn in the anti-clockwise direction, here I start from x, y, z. So anti-clockwise direction, this is my clockwise direction, but I marked in this direction. Okay, if you mark x, y, z axis in the anti-clockwise direction means the coordinate system is called right-handed coordinate system. There are two coordinate systems, one is right-handed, another one is left-handed. But in physics, we mostly use only right-handed coordinate system. How do you find whether it is right-handed coordinate system or left-handed coordinate system? If you want to find, there is one simple rule. Place your fingers in the direction of x-axis. One important point, if you want to find the right-handed coordinate system means you should use only right hand. If you want to find left-handed coordinate system means you should use only left hand. Okay, so this is the general rule. Place your fingers in the direction of x-axis. Here, which one is my x-axis? This direction. Okay, actually x is like this, perpendicular to the board. Okay, so this is the 3D position. So I can't draw this axis, that is why I have drawn like this. Okay, so what is our rule? Place your fingers in the direction of x-axis. Actually, this is x-axis, right? Rule number 2, rotate them towards in the direction of y-axis. This is my y-axis. So rotate in the direction of y-axis. Then the thumb will point out the direction of z-axis. See, the thumb finger point in the direction of z-axis. This is the general rule. Next one is the difference between right-handed coordinate system and left-handed coordinate system. Whatever it may be, the rule is same. Place your finger in the direction of x-axis. So this is right-handed coordinate system. So place your right hand fingers in the direction of x-axis. Rotate them. Second rule, rotate them in the direction of y-axis. So rotate them in the direction of y-axis. Here the fingers are inside. So you can mark it as like this. And the thumb points in the direction of z-axis. So look at this diagram. How did I mark this x, y, z? In the anti-clockwise direction, like this. X, y, z. In this direction, anti-clockwise direction. If the axis x, y, z are marked in the anti-clockwise direction means this is right-handed coordinate system. Thumb finger here, the thumb finger shows the direction of z-axis. Up to this clear? Next one, look at this diagram. This is left-handed coordinate system. So place your left hand in the direction of, that is, this is left-handed coordinate system. Place your left hand fingers in the direction of x-axis. Rotate them towards, rule number 2 is rotate them towards in the direction of y-axis. So here the y is like this. So this is my y-axis. If you rotate the fingers in the direction of y-axis means the thumb finger will point out the direction of z-axis. Okay, here fingers are outside the board. Okay, so that is why I marked here. How did I mark the axis? This is X, Y and Z like this. X, Y, Z like this. Here I mark the axis in the clockwise direction. If it is anti-clockwise means right-handed coordinate system. If it is clockwise means left-handed coordinate system. Up to this clear? This is Z up. Next one is Y up. How do you differentiate whether it is right-handed coordinate system or left-handed coordinate system? Same rule. Place your fingers in the direction. Look at my position. Place your fingers in the direction of x-axis. Rotate them towards the y direction. So this is my y-axis. Rotate them towards the y direction. My thumb will point in the direction of z-axis. So this is my thumb position. So this is my z-axis. How did I mark the axis? Here x, y, z, anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so right-handed y up, this is anti-clockwise direction. Same way here, place your left hand fingers in the direction of x-axis and rotate them towards the y-axis. Your thumb points in the direction of z-axis like this. How did I mark the XYZ axis? X, Y, Z axis in the clockwise direction. I hope this video is useful to you. If you like my video, please share and subscribe my video. Thank you.